Hey, what's up, everyone? It's me, the one and only Adam Signs, here with Purely Insane TV, and I have some special guests with me. Today, we have Austin Demond with Bleed the Sky, and we have Brad Caulley from SourBlood. What's up, guys? How are you doing?
Good. How you doing, Adam? Thanks
Good,
for
man.
having us on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, chilling. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks for coming out to the show. We're here in Columbus, Ohio, at the big bar room for the last show of the Revival Tour, and tonight's show is sold out. I'm assuming that every show on the tour has been sold out, with it being 10 years since your last album and tour. How do you feel about the new album, This Way Lies Badness?
I mean, I love it, man. It's been a blessing to get to do this with these guys again. Never thought I was gonna be able to get this cracking again. So it just circumstantially all came together, and we got to talking about it. And it's a bit of a process, but it was an awesome experience. I mean, just to get in a room, jam these tunes with everybody, and with the way of today, just putting the way that we could exchange files and all that stuff. I mean, that's kind of how we had to do the record. We didn't get in a room as much as I would have liked to, but all that being said, I think we delivered a modernized version. Fast forward, Bleed the Sky, 3.0, new dudes in the band, and it's a trip. It's a trip to be doing it, trip to be playing the old songs, people coming out, singing along to those old songs, and then the new kid that doesn't even know that shit and just knows our new shit, and which is also interesting and awesome,
I'm sure it's being 10 years since your last album, you come in with like a new perspective, fresh mind. So
yeah, for sure, absolutely.
Did you take a new approach to this album than previous? And if so, how is it different?
Well, I mean, yeah. This record has like a pretty crazy backstory. Like it was a lot of this music, a majority of the music was meant for another record, and it was a side project that we were doing. Wayne and I and Kevin, actually, that's in the band now, called Solus Dias, and things just didn't work out vocally for us, and we just decided to go a different direction, and that turned into me and Wayne kind of discussing, hey, what do you think about bringing this material to Noah and see if we can't make light, because the material was, I mean, as you hear on the record, is fucking on the level, you know what I mean? And
sick.
Didn't want to just put that shit to the wayside, and we're like, well, hey, for sure this shit will get some notoriety if we make this a Bleed record. And they changed a bunch of parts. Noah's great with structure and stuff like that. Like Solus Dias was just killer riff after killer riff, like no really rhyme or reason, just like fucking in your face, like doesn't really make sense. So he made sense of the music so that he could write to it as well. Okay. And him and Kevin developed a lot of that and changed some of the riffs around and stuff like that. But that was kind of the process. So next time I'm even more excited for the next one, because I know that we're a thing again, and now we'll like write to everything together. And but all things considered, I think we did a great job. You would never really want to write a record like that, I don't think. Like the way we had to dissect all that shit, and pretty crazy. But
nice.
It came out really rad, man. I'm excited for it, and
heck yeah, I'm excited.
I think everybody else is as well. Yeah,
it's gonna be good.
Oh, yeah.
Does being with your new label, Art is War, have any influence on the new album compared to the previous two?
Have any influence?
Have any influence
as far as like, it's like going in a direction because of like what they want, or what do you mean?
It'd be just any influence at all, I guess all aspects of it.
I mean, I don't think so. I mean, I think that they kind of just reached out, or Wayne reached out, and they were interested. And, you know what I mean? I think that's how it kind of goes with music. Like, I don't think a label really influences you to, fuck with your art. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think they just heard something and heard what they liked, and they're like, all right, right on, like, let's do this thing. And they were just very supportive from the get-go, that's for sure. And they're definitely awesome at promoting on the internet, and I can't say the same about a lot of other labels. I mean, I've really enjoyed their tenacity and their fluidity, and what they're doing for the brand is awesome. You know what I mean? So, thank you guys.
Speaking of new albums, Brad with SourBlood has a new album coming out as well. When can we expect it in our hands, and does it have a title yet?
Yeah, so actually we're finishing up our next album. We are got vocals left to track.
Okay.
So I'm gonna say we're looking at probably late spring, early summer.
Yeah, that's not too far
for the
away
release
either.
of it. We might do the charity, the Barnyard Bash this
Okay.
year for
Yep.
our CD release, and yeah, we actually did just settle on a title. It's going to be called Behind Enemy Lines,
Okay.
and you know, we kind of named it that for for a lot of reasons. It can relate to anybody in any aspect, right? You can do it with your relationship. For me, so much it was. You know, I was behind Emily Lines when I was going through some bad stuff in my personal life, struggling and just always feeling like that I was in uncharted territory.
Gotcha.
And so I'm hoping that with the lyrics and the title and everything that it can really reach people and help them in their day-to-day lives.
Excellent. Great. Sounds like both of you have been busy lately with these albums. How do you find the time to dedicate to your craft being in multiple projects?
Sorry, say that again. I was
Sounds like
thinking while
both of
you're
you
talking.
have been busy lately with these albums. How do you find the time to dedicate your craft being in multiple projects?
Well, that's just it. You're in multiple projects, so you're always playing. You know what I
Right.
mean? There's not really a matter of having time. That is your time. You know what I mean? You're just always jamming, always different. Each thing has a little different perspective. You know what I mean? You know, that's just kind of it. You know what I mean? And on my downtime when I'm like, all right, all the recording is done, all the practicing is done for that. Then there's like moments where I just go geek out on like whatever dude just destroys me on the drums and watch him and like try to learn a lick or something. Then that those moments are few and far between, unfortunately, when you're doing a bunch of shit.
Right.
But yeah, you find the time whenever you can. You know.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the 3 projects and stuff that you're in right now, right? 3.
Yeah, whatever comes along. You know what I mean? But Double Driver is my main thing. This is just for fun. And it's all. I mean, everything else is kind of just for fun. It's gonna always take second place because Double Driver's the main thing.
Right.
Whatever fits in. You know what I mean? That's everything else is kind of a mistress, and I get to do that. That's kind of cool. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, really stoked about Total Destruction that came out with the Elite.
Yeah.
That
me too.
that drumming on that was just amazing. For me,
Thanks,
I'm not as fortunate to be able to do this as a full-time job. So I work a 9-to-5 job, wife, kids, grandkids, stuff like that. So pretty much I probably spend 4 nights a week
Okay.
trying to get back into the swing of things because I didn't really start playing drums again until I joined SourBlood. So it took like a 5-year hiatus.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I got some rust on my legs.
Right.
But yeah.
That's metal. That's heavy metal for you.
Yes, it is.
It's like freaking UFC.
As I'm doing the interview, I've noticed your shirt says Shred Sober. What exactly is Shred Sober?
I'll let you take this one, Austin.
All right. Well, so for myself, through my whole life, I kind of battled my own demons, if you will, and this and that, and was fortunate enough to come out on the other side and just kind of, shed light on a lifestyle that I can actually live a life. You know what I mean? And for me, that means being sober because I was a complete animal. Otherwise, ups and downs, and just
Right.
We got plenty of people in our lives that we see taking that course, and you either figure that out or you don't, and hopefully you do. And all I'm trying to do with this, I started this brand called Shred Sober. Basically, I mean, for me, that just means there's multiple levels of shredding, but when you use that word and you like say it like, I don't know, I'm pretty humorous or whatever, but like you also say like, man, that shreds or whatever. Like it's usually like that's badass, right? So
Right.
it's just like, for me, it's like getting the elephant out of the room about your sobriety. Like you got to treat your sobriety, for me, is like the same way that I treated like how many fucking beers can I drink? You know what I mean? Like I got to drink 50. You know what I mean? Like that's over the top. So like I gotta have that same appeal about like just loving who I am and being sober. Have the same morale that I had about like how how extreme can I take it, and that kind of I think approach kind of can help people attain that if you really think about it, you know what I mean. And I think this is just kind of a cool way to do that, like Like, I mean, look, the imagery looks rad. You know what I mean? It looks
I
cool.
love the
It
play
looks,
on.
you know, it's looking cool to be, sober as sexy and all that shit. You know what I mean? And you know, and it's been cool to put that out there and just have, homies that can relate and just like random people. You know what I mean? And it's like, a lot of times you think you're doing something for you, and you're kind of doing stuff for like a lot of people too. It's got to start with you, because nobody, like my family, friends, everybody tried to reach out, and it's the same shit, man. Unfortunately, they're not enough. They're not
Right.
enough. You got to be enough for yourself, and that's where it kind of all started. You know what I mean? And so I decided, what better way to show my thanks and appreciation to this life that I get to live now, because I found the answers that I needed to hear, or what I needed to see, and the path finally made sense. And it started with the acceptance of, okay, like if I want to live at all, I gotta live this way. And so, as the years go on, I'm almost 3 years clean and sober, and it's like I'm living my best life. You know what I mean? I feel like life just got started. It's a chapter that will remain open. Just whoever comes along that needs to talk or whatever, people reach out and talk to me, and that's like, I thought that would just be like a music thing. You know what I mean? Like touch people with the music, but now it's just like at a even higher level. You know what I mean? Just because I decided to be bold and get off my ass and like make a difference to where I could really be an inspiration. You know what I mean? It was always like a half measured, like, man, I'm out here, I'm a musician, but I'm also like living this other life where depression and just like, doing drugs and just being stupid, being crazy, as a lot of people have done. But, found a way out of that. And for me, it's like the best decision I've ever made. And I'm so just thankful to be in front of you guys and just sharing this. And like, these are opening your mouth. Like when people, these are the things that save people. Weirdly, even if you don't think you're making a difference, and this hits the internet, somebody sees something, and for 1 second, one day, and they're like, all of a sudden, it's saving their life. You know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
That's all it really takes is talking. You know what I mean? Not being afraid of how somebody's gonna look at you. Oh, you're a fucking addict, piece of shit. Like, who cares? Does that really matter? You know what I mean? What matters is that you're trying to make this change, and I don't know, like the relating to other people like during these times too is like so important to me, because it's like when you're at that kind of spot in your life, is you're so vulnerable to like death and like all of that, you know what I mean? So this is very, very much so hits home for me. So it's I'm just happy to be able to reach out and have that other extension of my life, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I would say me sitting here right now is living proof of the idea that that Austin is being about.
Yeah.
I was in the same situation, addicted to every drug that you could possibly think of. If it wasn't for my wife, as far as like saving me on the fact that like I OD'd like 4 times, and things like that. And Austin's right. Like you can't force anybody to change. Each individual has to make that decision for themselves. I mean, God forbid, my family, my wife, my friends, they tried for 10 years to get me to take a different path. And, finally it was like one day, I woke up, I talked to Austin a little bit and, made my decision. And, it's just crazy that I can be sitting here today and be sitting beside you, brother, and
Yeah, man.
and doing this, getting back into playing music. Like I had said earlier, like I stopped playing music, things like that. So, in today's day and age, whether it's addiction or whether it's mental illness, right? Like we battle with that stuff, depression, things like that.
Absolutely.
One of the things that I really liked is the fact that, Austin, anybody that reaches out to him, he lends an ear. He sits there, he talks to him, and I just hope one day that I can have that effect on some people.
I mean, you probably do have that effect. You just don't realize it.
You are already.
So very cool. How can people get their hands on Shred Sober merchandise?
Well, there's this site, which is cool, just because it's cool. It's spread. It's spreadshirt.com/shredsober.
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and just throw this disclaimer out there. You can go ahead and do that route. I'm gonna probably take it down soon because the other company, merchlive.com/shredsober, the much better quality. You know what I mean? Hopefully I can move some of these designs because I do think like that one's super cool.
That one was my favorite.
Yeah, I love the Death Row
this
Records.
one's super cool too.
The Thrasher logo.
Then you got the.
cool.
This is like we got this from Thrasher / like the thing in the back. I deemed this shirt's called a repentagram.
Nice.
So it's like we kind of got that from the homies in Impending Doom. Kind of took that from them and collabed it and mashed it up with the Thrasher thing. But my homie Anthony, which is also sober now too, which is just that's what I'm saying too. It's like I'm not even like really like I don't know. You don't really mean to like be an influencer. You're just kind of like me just getting it out there and like creating that is like there's the hope for that, but at the same time like my brain still tells me that's not gonna matter, but it's mattering, you know what I mean? And it like gives me the chills because it's just like to even be a part of something like that, and I will take no credit for somebody's sobriety, you know what I mean? But the idea that you are promoting that look is appealing, I think, to those that are trying to go for that. And it kind of gives you the hope that, fuck, if that maniac can do that, you know what I mean? It's
Right.
like, and it really kind of starts there. And, I hit meetings and I definitely do all that. There's just so many relations you get in there. If you're like one of us that is just off your, out of your damn mind, to hear these other people are out of their mind too makes you feel comfortable. You know what I mean? Like, cause like, and the stories you hear in there, I mean, cause when you're an addict and the things you've seen and done are just kind of like keep you there, keep a lot of people in addiction and depression, and you're so ashamed that that is your wheelhouse that keeps you addicted and keeps you doing things. So you're like, man, I can't believe I did that. I should just go get fucked up. You know what I mean? So these people in these rooms hear all these stories, and they're the only ones that are gonna laugh with you about that kind of stuff. Because you talk to a regular person, they're gonna think you're out of your brain. Why are you laughing about that? You know what I mean? Shit's nuts, and it's not funny, but it's like to feel comfortable is a step towards your change, and that's the most important thing. It doesn't matter. From right now matters. All this other stuff, horrible or not, that was the old you though. They're like, today is starting. You know what I mean? Today starts, and I always believe one day at a time is all the cliches we were way too cool for are saving lives, dude. At this point, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter. You didn't know how to live, and you got to tell yourself, I don't know how to live. I'm a man-child. Whenever I was 32 or 33 or whatever I was, I don't know how to live. How do you? Should somebody tell me something where I can just relearn how to live? And that's hard when you're in your 30s or whatever. You're like, fuck. I really don't. You know what I mean? I'm just barely holding on before some inevitable, real bad stuff happens. You know what I mean? So so the fact that I'm lucky that none of that fully happened. I'm just trying to give back in any kind of way that we can, and that just means simple stuff like being there, doing the talking, and being grateful that, whatever that did for that person that day or for you or whatever. You know what I mean? It's all inclusive. Helping anybody, the newcomer, anybody is like that's fueling my tank too. You know what I mean? Like not selfishly, but like that makes me feel good. Good feelings keep you trooping, you know what I mean? So, simple.
Who are your inspirations musically and personally?
Well, I mean, musically, I would say starting out, Anders Herrick from Chimaira had a huge influence on me. Austin had a huge influence on me because they had like their distinct styles, and I'm gonna say Josh Eppert from Coheed and Cambria, the drummer from them. He's been a really major influence on me as well, just based on the fact that I feel like his story is kind of similar to Austin's, and then I feel like I'm going down that same path as well, as far as like, we got, battling our demons and went down the wrong path, and opportunities that we thought that were great, right? Like, Austin was in Bleed the Sky at that time. I was in a band called Once Pure, and Josh was in Coheed and Cambria.
Okay.
And I'm sure it got to the point, at least I know in our cases, that our demons got out of control, and it was really affecting our band and just everything that way. And to be able to have that road of redemption, and you look at Austin once he left Bleed the Sky, because they were done for about 10 years. He started jamming with Chimaira. And now he's with Devil Driver, and I just feel like a bunch of doors opened up for him. Josh, when he got kicked out of Coheed and Cambria, he started doing hip hop, and he started rapping about the demons that he battled, and it was really real life for me. It was right when I got out of rehab, things like that, and to just be able to have that successful path in front of you. I feel like I'll be clean 3 years this June, and in these last 3 years, like Austin said earlier, it's like living a life that is so much better than what it was. So many doors have opened up for me, in my personal career, musically, and just in every aspect. So I give a lot of credit to those three guys for me.
Right on, man. I'm honored to be a part of that list, my friend. Man, for me, I mean, definitely Rob from Chimaira, you know what I mean? I mean, for sure, as Bleed was getting started, like, they were a big influence for us, for sure. I mean, you could tell. And, but when I actually got to meet him, it was just like, this dude, like, because you watch the videos and he looks pretty mean and all that stuff, especially the older stuff. And you meet him, he's like this gentleman of metal. You know what I mean? He's like totally the gentleman of metal, and like just showed me the ropes of like how to be like on the road, and just like how I should orchestrate myself. And I mean, I think I'm pretty approachable anyhow, and just I'm pretty, I don't know. I don't like to step on anybody's toes. I like everybody to have their space. I think I had a lot of that built in, but he reassured me that like you could be even more, I don't know. He just, his playing, just everything about the way that he acts is a good representation of how to be in the music world. You know what I mean? He has his own sound, just I had a lot of development out of him, and he kind of helped show me from a kid from the garage, which I still just am. I think a lot of times, like, when you have that morale, like, a lot of people don't even realize, like, dude, you're incredible. You know what I mean? And for me, it's like not about that, but he helped me hone in. Like, dude, like, I played with a lot of people, and you're like, for him, I'm one of his favorites too, and that just blew me away. You know what I mean? It was just like, this is too weird. Like, I'm still weirded out about that, like, a million years later. You know what I mean? He's definitely one. Vinnie Paul, for sure, because he just, had that signature sound, and he never really overplayed. Not to say that I don't do that a lot, but like, I always respected the sound of Pantera. Just was like, you can't really fuck with that.
No.
And then
really
Mario
can't.
came along, and then it's just like, he's my third guy for sure, and probably my current reigning champion. I got to meet him, and that was another shocking moment when I met him. Not only did I meet him, I met him because he watched me play that day, and he was like, fuck, I gotta fucking tear it up even more today because I watched you. I'm like, no, you didn't. You didn't just say that, because that's just over the top for me. That's too much.
Right.
I can die now. Because you're like one of the baddest dudes I know on the planet, period. You know what I mean? That was just like a moment, and just like, because I feel that way about him. I mean, it's crazy. I don't have many sticks in my collection, but his is one of them for sure. I don't even remember how I got it, but I got it.
That's all that matters, right?
I wish I had a Vinnie Paul one. That would be cool. And if Rob ever plays drums, I'll get a Rob one. But I'm kidding, but yeah, man. The list goes on. There's so many dudes. So many. That's kind of a hard question. All that stuff's hard for me. I've never had like a specific. That's probably the most specific I've answered a question like that. It's usually. I just like so many feels, like, from all players. Like, I've learned something from everyone. You know what I mean? Because it's not you. You know what I mean? And I can find the beauty in anyone's playing. It don't matter how good or bad or whatever you are. Guaranteed, you have an approach to that's like there that you're like, huh, I never thought of that. That's really fucking cool. You know what I mean? And that's music in a nutshell. Music is beauty, dude. Music is pure beauty. You know, amongst the ugly.
What do you enjoy most about being a musician, and what do you hate the most?
I would say what I enjoy most is being on stage and just getting lost in the music that I'm playing, and being able to look up and see the crowd feel that. Like, you know, they feel that emotion, whether it's relating to the music, whether it's relating to the lyrics, and that's probably what does it for me. You know, in the past, I've had people come up and tell me like, "Hey, man, this song like helped me when I was going through my divorce," and just to be able just to touch one person's life with something is all that matters. You know, I mean, ultimately, when we write music as musicians, we write it for ourselves. You know, music is just a way to express your emotion. And what better way to do it than you know, beating the shit out of some drums? You know?
Yeah.
But that's probably the best part for me. Probably the worst part is loading in.
Okay.
Especially because, you know, I have like a 9-piece pearl, you know, 4-sided rack kit that everybody just hates. Yeah, especially my bandmates hate that thing. So I would say that's probably what the worst part about it. And stairs at venues.
Oh, I'm sure.
Stairs at venues.
Those can't be
Drummer,
fun.
the list goes on for things we don't like. That's in that category. Stairs, worst. For me, yeah, I agree, dude. Being on stage, being in that moment, that's the payoff of like all the millions of hours, like creating the music, like, you know, all of that's the homework right there. And like sometimes you show up with the homework and you're like so certain, like this is it, and like this guy don't feel it for some reason. It's like, you know, then you're dealing with all these like, you know, egos. We're all ego based.
Yeah.
But they don't always vibe together. Ego sometimes gets the wrong inflection, I think. But we all have our own egos. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean, oh, he's got such an ego. It's just like there's difference of opinions, and a lot of that happens when you're writing because we're all ramped up and excited, and he's not hearing it this way though. And so it's like if you have the abilities to like blend with that and give each other the, all right, I'll try that out, but then all the homework's done, and now you're like all psyched on the songs, and now you're ready to play that for people, and hopefully like they like it. And it's like, you know, performing that live though is just like the best. Like that's for me my spirit animal. Like any bullshit that goes on between the ears is just gone, and it's just like pure joy. Only thing that I'm ever worried about is fucking up, of course, but that's anyone. But lately, the more sober I become, it's like I don't even care what happens up there. This is all icing. Like I've defeated an animal for the time being, a day at a time, that I never thought would happen. So it's just like, even if I drop a stick, I fuck up a fill, I'm laughing through it. Like I'm not that angry about it. And,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Unless the sound's so bad that I can't hear anything. I might get discouraged, but you know, that'll be temperamental. I'll be over it after and just laugh, whatever. I mean, we get to do this. It's not. It's a fucking privilege. You know what I mean? It's the best. It's literally the best, like the gift ever, you know. And we discovered that we're good at it. That we get. This is not a lot of people. I think I stare at them dead in the face, and they don't realize what gift they have. And I believe everyone has one, at least, if not several, you know. And they don't see it, and I think that's sad. And that's another reason I do this, because I just feel like I'm just some dude from the garage. We just started fucking writing shit that we liked ourselves and just decided, hey, let's go play. And some people told us we were all right at it, so we're like, fuck it, let's keep playing. You know what I mean? And then it just went. But yeah.
Music traveled all the way out here to Ohio.
Crazy, dude. Yeah. I owe Ohio my career in a weird way. It just keeps coming back to it too. It's really, really kind of funny. But bad stuff is, you know, I don't know, I guess not getting to do it a little more. Like I always just want to do it more, you know what I mean? And like I'm not quite to the point where like it makes enough money for like my whole day to day, you know what I mean? You know, when I'm out there, like it's definitely great, and I get to save some of that, and it's good. but I always have to come home and find odd jobs, and that gets stressful. And I'm totally cool with it, but I'm just always trying to find a way for that to just like seamlessly like one thing to the next. Like, how do I just make enough for music to like afford my life without having to go do some monotonous job that I'm grateful for. I just how I'm not really there, and I put my name on whatever it is I do, and I make it a good time as much as I can, but it's not something that I'm per se interested in.
Gotcha.
I'm just like, cool, I learned how to do this, but I'm not like passionate about it. Not like the guy next to me that's like, man, isn't this really cool? And I'm like, sure. I mean, I guess. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I'm just kind of here, man. I'm trying to make enough to pay rent. That's
Right.
Like, it's not really, but that's kind of it. You know what I mean? It's not much bad. Not much bad.
Yep.
Yeah, I see so many memes on the internet about drummers having to load in, load out while the rest of the band.
I've actually kind of been enjoying it on this one, like, because I haven't had to do it in a minute. I haven't had to do it since with this guy, to be honest. It's been funny. Like, when I first had a tech, that was, what? I could just sit around and do nothing for, like, hours.
Hey, what's up? What's up, Low Life? Wish you could be here, buddy.
JLL.
Yeah.
Love you, bro. And Checker. You remember Checker?
Yes.
Checker. He was the OG. He did everything. He was helping us with everything.
Was he on the Index case?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Always wearing a bandana, biker
Yep.
bandana. Yeah.
Yep.
Shaved head. Yeah, dude.
The Alrosa days.
OG. Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Not much more of those.
Yeah, I know.
That's what I heard.
Yeah,
Yep.
they just sold
I
it, and they're
mean-
having like their last show.
Honestly, like, I don't know. I mean, I always thought they should get rid of that, like, kind of soon after that. That's kind of like,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, definitely went
know.
downhill after.
I get it.
Everything
I
happened.
mean,
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of memories there.
sure. Of course. I mean,
But yeah, I mean, I think it's there. I don't know what the new owners are going to do with it. I don't know if they're going to try to keep it as a historical landmark, in honor and dime.
Yeah.
If they're going to tear it down, or we haven't really heard.
I haven't heard anything.
yet. So, but yeah, those were definitely the good old days.
yeah, man.
For sure.
Oh,
Yeah,
for
I saw
sure.
a lot of good shows there. What's your favorite song to play and why?
For me, right now, I'm gonna have to say, probably a song called "Doesn't Mean Anything." We've played it live quite a few times here lately. It's gonna be on the new upcoming album, but it's got the fast double bass, thrashing, circle pit, momentum. It's got a real, bouncy and melodic chorus, and then when it comes to the breakdown, it's just gangster. It's just got that gangster groove to it, and it's really fun to play. So that'd probably be my pick right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Right now, I'm really liking playing. I mean, it's a trip to play all the old stuff for sure. But being fast forward, I just like playing anything new that's like new that I'm playing now. So I don't know. It's kind of a tie between. It's slower, but it's still like kind of quick and cool. The song we had, it's called Ghost. It's super head bobby the entire time, just groove the entire time. And then it's a tie between that one and this other song we got called Carrion Bather that we're playing, and that one's kind of all over the map. But yeah, it's just got parts where the tempos change and it's just like out of nowhere, and it's just, when it hits, there's this bass drops and just super. I don't know. Yeah, gangster. Thug metal.
Yep.
Up in this thing.
Thug metal, baby.
Thug metal.
What's your biggest fear in the music industry today?
I mean, mine would probably be being able to be a musician full time, right? Like, you think about the internet and social media, technology, all those things. I mean, people can get on. People don't even have to buy your album anymore. They can just get on YouTube and watch once it's uploaded. They can burn CDs. There's all different avenues.
Oh, yeah.
And then I think now they're going to like Apple streaming and like these platforms where customers just pay a flat fee.
Yeah, like
you know.
Spotify is $10 a month. You get unlimited.
Right, and as an artist, you're getting like a tenth of a penny per stream, and that's probably estimating it high. So like unless you're huge, getting 4 or 5 million plays, you're not really seeing any return on any of the investments that you're making, and that's that, and the fact that like a lot of venues, like we just talked about, the Alrosa probably closing down. At least here in Ohio, like up here in Columbus, there's been a lot of venues that's closed down.
We got Bethel Road that
Yep.
closed down. Alrosa's on its way out.
Yep. You think economically, right? In today's age, whereas like back in the day, you didn't have the internet for entertainment, so like people went out and actually did things and was social, and they wasn't just stuck in their phone and stuff all
Right.
the time. Whereas like, it is hard to get people to spend money to get off their couch to come out and actually interact face to face with people, because they can sit at home in the comfort of their home and not have to spend any extra money and still be entertained. Now, I don't feel like it's the same as being there in person and being able to experience.
No, not at all.
But I feel like that's one of the things that we're battling in today's industry.
Yeah, I agree. Shifting gears, which is it's hard, man. When you whatever your monetary system is, and you love or wherever it starts, and shit changes, especially now, and it's just like hard to break your mind from that was the old way. Now you just expected to learn all this. It's like right now I'm going through like I need to learn how to like operate fucking Pro Tools or whatever like ASAP, because it's just like if I don't, like, I'm not gonna be able to get out all of these ideas constantly, and that the human brain anymore doesn't know how to not process things as fast as possible and just kind of like throw them away. You know what I mean? So it's like you gotta just have content city and like content of me just jamming more often. People want to see it. I don't. It's more. I realize it more than ever now. Even when if it sucks, I like the quality sucks. I'll put something up and it'll just be like jillion views or whatever, like hella quick or whatever. And I gotta motivate myself and push myself to do that, to like remain current, so that if something happens down the line or whatever, I have all this content, or like somebody else is gonna want me or whatever. I don't know. You don't never know what's gonna happen. You hope wherever you're at is gonna be where you stay, but that's just life proves to you time and time again that that's never the case. Eventually, in eventuality. You know what I mean? Hopefully not. But you can't afford to live like that in this industry. You always got to be prepared. Period. And you got to be cool. That's it, man.
If you could change anything about the music industry, what would it be?
I mean, for me, I would say, I would love if more people got in a room and jammed the music again. I mean, that's just be old school and go ahead and say that. A lot of people don't do that anymore. You know what I mean? It's a lot of perspective of one dude writes everything and programs the drums, and a lot of stuff is very stale, and then that just doesn't transpire live. Like, it's a dude trying to play these crazy things, especially in metal, and it's just like you can't even hear all that live. It's just sonically, unless like I don't even know. You just can't. It just never transpires that way. Like, I hear all kinds of great shit, and then I go watch it live. I'm like, that's about 50% of what I hear on the record. Like,
Right.
just go in a room and like really make these parts develop. Like, you hear it in bands that do that, like Gojira. You hear that. It probably helps that they're brothers and they're just fucking locked in. But like, you just hear it in the parts. They breathe like a human heart, and it's just, you just feel it. You get the chills. There's certain shit like that. A lot of this other stuff is just kind of like, I don't know. I hope that kind of shifts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like with the internet and social media, sometimes you feel like the market is oversaturated.
I see that.
With and it's everyone should do their passion, right? Especially if you're playing music. But when you're listening to it as a consumer, right? Like, you think about back in the day when like Metallica or Slayer, Pantera, or those bands came out, like they had an impact. Or you can even go other genres, grunge like Nirvana, or Pearl Jam, like bands like that. Like when they came out, they had their sound, that was distinctive, and I don't think you get a lot of that anymore with the market being oversaturated. So, everyone just needs to get back to being creative, and do what you do best. That was probably some of the best advice Austin ever gave me when I was talking to him. He was like, I was playing in a band. They just wanted constant blast beats and all this fast stuff, and like that's not the style of drummer that I am. Like I can do that stuff, but I'd rather play groove metal, right? Like, I don't know. I'm really into hip hop, so
Yeah,
like
I feel you on
hip hop's
that.
a huge influence on
Definitely feel you on that.
on what I do. So that would probably be my take on it.
What's the craziest thing that happened at a show?
Okay, I mean,
Probably a lot.
craziest? Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't even think you share that kind of stuff. No, I'm just Sheesh. All the craziest things I probably forgot, to be honest. I mean, that's how crazy they were. I just probably erased them.
Or you're so much in the moment that you don't realize what's going on through the moment.
Yeah. So I think one of the last shows that I was at, this guy was having so much fun, and he was front row, that he decided to use the restroom on the security guard that was standing at the front of the stage.
Tight.
And
Shredding sober, for sure.
yeah, that I had never seen that before in the last 20 years that I've played. So that was a first for me. So maybe that counts as crazy.
Yeah, it's fully. True. For me, a really cool thing actually. I mean, I don't know if it's the craziest, but it was like really, it's a heartfelt, cool thing that just happened like a week ago. Like this lady, she came to our show, and after the show, there weren't really that many people at the show actually, and but it made it all. She made it like just. This is it. This is like the prime example of like why you go and you play, give your art out, and like you do it because you love it, obviously. But like these moments is like, so she was. Long story short, she was deaf, and so she came up to us and had a bit of a speech impediment because she's deaf, and basically was telling us, I really could feel you guys tonight because she can't hear anything, but she's like, but. I don't feel everybody that I'm watching. You know what I mean? I've come and watched a lot of shows, but I'm not always feeling it. And she's like, "Thank you guys for making me feel this." And it was just like I'm getting chills right now thinking about that, because that's just like beyond $1. Like what? That's. I mean, and that's just it. That's it in a nutshell, right there. That's why you keep doing this. You keep giving that gift out. Like when you're like. Asking yourself or doubting or whatever, like, man, do I keep doing this? It's like, yeah, you keep doing it. A, because you love it, and B, you're not just doing it for yourself. You know what I mean? This is helping people. You know what I mean? And if you can ever get out of your own way, like you just gotta. I don't know. For me, that's just life in a nutshell. It's like you're not just here for your own personal enjoyment. It's like we're all a village. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just like we only get one of them. And just try to stay healthy. I mean, try to help those around you that you can, and just kind of have balance. You know what I mean? And talk out the bullshit that you're convincing yourself of whenever that goes down, or try to get back to grateful. That's just simple rather than complicated.
What if you could have people remember one thing about you? What would it be?
Yeah, sure. For me, I would probably say that I'm a very passionate person.
Okay.
In anything that I do, I'm kind of balls to the wall, always taking things to the extreme and stuff like that. But usually when I'm about something, I'm 110% in, and everything has pros and cons. But I feel like my passion has taken me places and has helped me become successful in aspects of my life that I didn't ever feel that I could be successful. So, that's probably what it is for me.
Okay.
Yeah. Similar stuff for sure. And for me, just my inflection on people is that I'm just a dude. You know what I mean? I'm just staying grounded. Like, have your dreams and aspirations and all that, but just keep it ground level. You know what I mean? And just remain humbled, remain inspired. You know what I mean? And that's it. I get anxiety sometimes with it's ultimate appreciation, but like if it goes over the top, like when I'm talking with somebody and it's like it gets to a point, I'm like, all right, like let's calm down. I know you're excited, or like just like shaking. There's been a couple moments like that for me, and it's like just I just get like overwhelmed with it because it's like it doesn't compute with me because I'm just a dude. You know what I mean? I don't know how to explain that moment, but I don't want anybody to ever like feel that way. I just want to be regular and not like some boosted thing. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's it for me. I just he was just a dude that did some stuff that was he put himself out there for the world, and that's kind of just it. And it wasn't for anything but to like help out with whatever it does for you. I don't need to be a jillionaire. Just doing something I like to do and happens to help. Cool.
If you had one message to give to your fans, what would it be?
I would say never give up hope. Follow your dreams and reach out to any reach out to somebody. Like I said, I'm very humbled and grateful to be sitting here today and be able to do what I enjoy and what I love. And if it wasn't for people like Austin, and there's a ton of other people, just too many to name that have helped me along my journey. And it's just don't let any obstacles in your life define you. Anything's possible, and you just got to put your mind to it, and you can achieve anything. And I feel like I'm living proof of that, and I'm very, very humble and grateful. So don't ever give up. That would be my message to people.
Yeah, man. Just love your life. You know what I mean? Be kind to others and keep it simple. Don't make life complicated, and do whatever you want to do and do it. Don't just talk about it. Like, get in action. There's people around you that can help you through that are naturally gifted at this area of your life that you have no idea, and don't be afraid to ask them. Chances are they're going to help you. You know what I mean? And then you'll be able to get out of your own way. A lot of us get stuck in our own tracks because we develop that part of our brain. Oh, I can't do this because it's just whatever. But it's like, well, the truth is, your school stopped in high school or college or whatever, and you thought that you couldn't learn anymore. You know what I mean? And it's like that's not true. You just got to find somebody that you relate to that you also trust that can help you with this, and that's always a thing. And even if you keep trying and you feel like it's not, and you just got to keep trying, and it's gonna get better. You're gonna find what you're looking for. Generally, when you're not looking for it, then that's just how it goes. But live life, man. Love it. Love your life.
Well, that wraps up the interview. I want to thank both of you guys for taking the time to sit down and talk.
Yeah, thanks for having us on.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
You.
All right.
Thanks.
Late.